The next talk is with Lawrence, also known as Lando Rothbardian, who's going to come up and talk to us about a parallel structure in consumerism. How do we change how we buy things, and how do we build a parallel structure alongside the existing one? Lawrence is the CEO of shoppingbit.com. He's had a booth over there selling all kinds of things. It's Europe's biggest Bitcoin store with over 800,000 products. At Shoppingbit, you purchase all the daily items you need using Bitcoin, and that can range from toothpaste to the newest iPhones. Lawrence is going to come up here and talk about how Bitcoin fixes consumerism. Please welcome Lando.
Yeah. Hello there. I'm Lawrence, a.k.a. Lando Rothbardian. It's more like a stage name. So, yeah, I want to talk some Bitcoin and also consumerism. So, I thought about something, right? Because I'm a very reclusive guy with an attitude, I like to say. So most people of you might have not met me before, seen me anywhere, might have heard me in some podcast. And that's why I thought that I split this talk up into two sections. So the first section will be about what I did in the last 4 years. So you might have something to hand over to a teenager that you know that might need some inspiring for becoming an entrepreneur. And the second part will be about, why Bitcoin actually fixes consumerism on some real-world data, so it's not like a sleight of hand or something. So I'll just start with my little story. Beginning in January of 2018, it was cold, but my graphics card was a nice heating source since it generated 110 degrees Celsius while playing video games. So if you happen to be an avid video gamer, you know that's actually a fire hazard. So I needed a new one. And I, of course, had some Bitcoins. And I thought to myself, okay, there should be a way that I can buy a GPU directly with Bitcoin. Because, as you know, a man needs a code. So I had my own rules for buying a product with Bitcoin. It needed to be accepted directly without a payment service provider, and I'm not allowed to use any vouchers. My second important point was that I was able to buy it in Germany, because, well, I'm a German resident, and to just support the local economy, right? And so I ventured to find this GPU, and I came to a stunning answer after just witnessing an all-time high in 2017. And it's hell no. It was not possible to just buy a GPU directly with Bitcoin. So I tossed and turned, couldn't sleep at night, and thought about a solution. And yes, it was a stroke of genius, of course, that I came up with the simple idea of why don't I just sell PC hardware? Because the idea behind it is super simple. Like, people will need to buy stuff with Bitcoin anyhow, so why I'm not just doing it, right? So I was in I had a very good start. I was strapped for success, as it's called here, because my coding experience consisted of doing a Khan Academy course for JavaScript. So I could organize a shelf that automatically shows some books. So that's pretty extensive coding experience. I had no clue about what trade was and what the rules were, or accounting and stuff. And my idea was I just buy stuff from wholesalers and sell it with a profit. I mean, easy, right? Yeah. And I had no inheritance and, of course, no investors. So I think that's a very good start. So we're now at September, between September and December 2018. I just sat down, was humble, learned WordPress, and acquired Wholesalers. And during that, I found some very interesting surprises while building it on Bitcoin. And the first one is that when you don't have payment service provider fees, you can actually offer competitive prices even in low margin sectors like consumer electronics. The second thing is that you need really good relationships with wholesalers. And when you just call them up and say, yeah, I will pay upfront in euro, it's no problem, then they will more likely be inclined to work with you instead of other people who are calling for payment deadlines of 19 or 180 days. No, I'm just paying upfront, no problem. Because with Bitcoin, you get paid upfront instantly, right? And that's my personal favorite. If you're too stupid to code, you could just fake it in CSS. No problem at all, right? Well, there were some negative surprises as well. So, yeah, consumer electronics has some problematic margins. I didn't know that. I thought everyone was just making bank. Seriously. But no, that's not the case. At that point in time, wholesalers actually actively hated Bitcoin because I think a lot of them got scammed during the multi-level marketing and ICO era. So you could imagine my first calls with wholesalers like, yeah, I want to like sell electronics for Bitcoin. You want to do what? Click. That was like, for a couple of months, that was my kind of talks that I had with wholesalers. And another point is that if you are not using traditional payment service providers, most of the ad services online will just immediately not offer you any kind of services because they also thought all kinds of crypto and especially Bitcoin was a scam, right? And the last thing, of course, since some of you have some more coding experience, if you fake everything in CSS, your website will not work on a mobile phone, right? So it's December 2018 already. It's launch time. I was launching Germany's first crypto-only store with 2,000 products. And as you can see here, my self-designed website, that was how it looked like in December 2018. I was super proud of it, but you can imagine that it's not the most professional website design ever. Yeah, so as you have heard before, I had no real experience, so I was expecting to make some serious bank, but yeah. Time passed, like, where's the money? I need them coins. Yeah, so the first 3 months, I literally sold nothing. 2,000 products, no sales, but there was actually a simple reason for it. Because if you have no reputation, you're not making sales. Because doing e-commerce with trustless money requires trust of your customers. So if they don't know you, why should they send you money? It's upfront payment. It's ridiculous, right? And of course, the site didn't look like that professional, right? So yeah, that was the first couple of months, but of course, I somehow managed to get up on stage here today. So it's 4 years later, and we are now Shop&Bit, Europe's biggest Bitcoin store with over 800,000 products, and we are already based in Poland, thanks to the Staatenlos team and Christoph especially for helping us out. And we accept Bitcoin, Lightning, and a bunch of other altcoins with a 3% discount, and we, of course, use our own BTC Pay server, like you heard in Stefan's wonderful presentation. And of course, we also do PayPal and fiat money, but that's just a side note. But our main factor is privacy first. So our customer accounts are optional, and that's the standard option. You actually have to uncheck a box to create a customer account with us. We delete all personal data after 30 days automatically, and we do not use any kind of analytics software on our website. That means our cookie policy is just, you can only accept it because it's only technical. And we offer free shipping within the EU for 21 euros. So, oh, Bitcoin only, of course. So if you're paying with fiat money, you got to pay the shipping fee. Sorry, bros. And excuse me. Yeah. And our second service is our concierge service, where we buy anything from anywhere and ship it everywhere. So if 800,000 products are not enough, well, we got you covered. And we also offer a travel hacking service. Don't misinterpret it. It has a reason why it says travel hacking service. We're not a travel agency, so you actually save some money while using our service, right? So that was the first part of my talk. So please share it with teenagers who are struggling in public schools and want to become an entrepreneur, because you can still make it. Can build your own free market during the reign of the Galactic Empire, right? So now we'll come to the second part of my talk. And if you are in the Bitcoin space, you might have seen this handsome gentleman, Saifedean Ammous. He wrote a small book about Bitcoin. And I think personally he's wrong in one specific point. And it angers me a lot that he's wrong just in this one point, because he says people are not using Bitcoin today. Well, you've seen it. I'm here. That's number one. And he thinks spending Bitcoin is stupid, and I will explain why that actually is the opposite, and why it helps us as a free community and freedom lovers, that you accept Bitcoin, you spend Bitcoin, and you make money on Bitcoin, right? Because if you're still getting paid in fiat, you're actually part of the problem. And you, of course, are the slave to the payment service providers if you are still only accepting Bitcoin. I'm not saying you just fiat money, sorry, misspoke there. Yeah, so, but on the other hand, Saifedean is actually right. Does the Bitcoin standard actually work? And we're going to find out, because I brought some numbers. I brought two numbers, which I think will rock your boat. And the first one is 1%, and that is the return rate of Bitcoiners on our store. So as you might know, in the European Union, you have a 14-day right of withdrawal. And I don't mean warranty cases. I mean just people buying stuff and say, yeah, okay, space gray is not that great of a color, I just send it back. 1% is with Bitcoiners. We are actually industry leading. I will just show some short graph here. So the Bezos Club currently has an estimate of 25% return rates. Ecom median is around 17%. Our fiat customers are at 13%, and Bitcoiners have a return rate of 1%. So you can choose between getting every fourth order sent back, or you just have something like less than 1%. The second number, which might be a little bit more interesting if you're not into e-commerce but like money, as I do, is 1,200% more in average order basket size comparing to fiat customers. So just, I think the graph speaks for itself, but I'll just explain it. So in Ecom Medium, you think about 80 to 150 euros as an average order basket size. Our fiat users spend almost about 150 euros per order, but our Bitcoin customers spend more than 1,000 euros per order. I'm just letting that marinate a little bit. Yeah, but you're of course right to ask, but why? But why is that the case? Yeah, it's because there are two different types of customers. The fiat customer, he just goes, that looks good, let me just buy that. Yeah, I had a bad day, my boss is killing me, fuck that, I'm just spending some money online, right? And they also just spend very regularly. I mean, there's no thinking about why you're buying something, you just need to have that stuff, you need that materialism. So you spend 1 to 2 or even 3 or 4 times per week, you go on the website and just order stuff to your home because it's free shipping and no cost, right? Then of course you get the highest buyer remorse risk ever, even with low priced items. But on the other hand, you got the Bitcoin customer. what does he do? He plans purchases, and they're like super informed about products. I mean, we sometimes get emails with corrections about product descriptions because they're not accurate enough. So, I mean, this is really intense. Like, these are not people you can fool with some fancy marketing stuff. They know their stuff. They read all the reviews, and they will send you a correction if you offer wrong stuff on your website. And of course, the Bitcoin on the shops when needed, because we have a low time preference, and they do a maximum of 1 order per month, right? And that makes it to a actually 0% buyer's remorse risk, right? So what does that mean for you? If you're currently not accepting Bitcoin, it means you need to stop being part of the problem, and I have this very fancy circle going on to make it accessible to you. So the first step, if you do not have any Bitcoins, is to actually just get some Bitcoins. I mean, you all have diversified portfolios. I mean, it's a small bet. Come on, just do yourself a favor. So hodl is the first step. The second step is building. And yeah, you gotta get paid in Bitcoin, of course, to actually feel the difference of having Bitcoin customers in your business that will actually improve your product over time and not just annoy you with, oh, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of green bluish, but I thought more of a blue yellow tone, so I don't know, I just sent it back. So do yourself a favor, get the best customers on this goddamn planet. And the last step is, of course, spendle. I don't mean to just throw the money out the window and treat yourself all day. I mean to use spending Bitcoin as a positive reinforcement, right? So when you go to a store that accepts Bitcoin and you want to make sure that they understand that you value their service or product, especially, then you must make the point with Bitcoin. Not with fiat money, because fiat money is fastly spent. You all know Gresham's law, I don't have to explain it. But if you do it with Bitcoin, it actually sends a way more positive message to the entrepreneur, so he will be more, I don't know, motivated for a longer time, because people are spending hard money on their services. I think there's no better compliment that you can give to anyone. And of course, if you're still getting paid in fiat, you of course can just replace the coins that you just spent, so your stack will not lower over time. So my last thing that I have to talk about today is, of course, that tomorrow is just in your hands. There is no reason for you to wait until Monday or next week to accept Bitcoin, because you could, of course, do it like Stefan recommended, just buy a 300 euro laptop and then set up your own nodes, or you could just ask your server admin that you probably have to set up the BTC Pay server. It will cost less than 100 euro in German IT costs, usually per hour, so he will just take like 15 minutes or something. So if you're not as IT savvy as I am, just give your employees some time to do it, like setting up a Docker is not that difficult for him. Like, he was laughing, like, okay, sure. Yeah, I will calculate 15 minutes, of course, full hour, yeah, sure, but it takes me like 3 minutes, so pretty fast thing. And yeah, that's actually it. So if you want to stay in touch, I got some email addresses here, and if you're a manufacturer or have your own products and want to list it on our site, please visit me at my booth or send me an email at suppliers@shopinbitcoin.com. And yeah, just so you know, we have a Swiss store now as well. So if you're from Switzerland, you can also talk to me about it. And it's shopinbit.com, and that's actually my talk. Oh, okay, I see. We have time for one question, so you was the fastest. Congratulations. Yes.
So, first of all, great talk, and I think that's a great story for anyone aspiring to become an entrepreneur. I do agree that holding Bitcoin, spending Bitcoin, and getting paid in Bitcoin definitely helps. But I actually think that the final death blow to fiat currencies is when we stop denominating prices in fiat currencies. So one of the questions that I have is, in your store, I know you can buy products with Bitcoin, but do you actually denominate product prices in Satoshis? Or do you just denominate them in dollars and you just do the conversion to the current USD value of Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So, no, we denominated them in euro, and there's a simple reason for it, because we are legally obliged to. So, no, you can't. You have to, as a European company, you have to set the prices up in euro. You could, of course, also show them in Satoshis, but we tested it a while, and it actually confused the people, because during the time while they're shopping, as you've seen, they take very much planning into their shopping. The prices can change until they arrive at our BTC Pay Server checkout. So then it's just an estimate. And then people feel bad about getting a worse price because somehow the price dropped by 4% while they were shopping for like 2 hours on our website. So that's not the best way to do it from a consumer experience. I hope that as soon as I can move my company to the next free city. Oh, also, dips on the name and capital. That will be the name of my free private city. So please ask me first before you take this name. No, but when we are there, we would, of course, then do it in Satoshis, because I think then the end of fiat money is near. So yeah, but for now, euro prices first, and then at checkout, we reserve the price of the current exchange rate for 30 minutes for you. So, and it's a 0% mark on that. It's just Kraken euro price. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That's your own. Thank you.
Well done.